And we're already going to be jumping into game 1 here, and spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Abyssal Reef, we have the South Korean Terran player, the blue Terran representing Team Liquid. It is Cure. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the South Korean Zerg player, the red Zerg representing Gaiman Gladiators. It is SHIN. Go. Hold on, I'm just setting up an alias for our players. Beautiful. And as we're settling into this, if you're in the chat, you know what time it is. It is Gamma time. Predictions are open. Place your bets on who you think will claim this series. Best of luck in the chat. Coming into this, if we were casting this tournament, if these matches were being held like end of December, beginning of January, I would have said that SHIN was favored. 100%. I would have said that SHIN was favored coming into this series. Nowadays, I'm less certain of that. If you've been watching the CranKy Ducklings for the past 2 weeks, you'll know that SHIN, as opposed to, again, at the start of the year where he was winning a bunch of online tournaments, where he was having some deep runs in the open cups, that has not been the case as of late. Over the past 2 weeks, he has been struggling a little bit more, and because of that, I'm less certain as to how these two face off against each other. I want an ace match. That's all I want. I want a game 3 between Cure and SHIN. I want an ace match. Let's go. Here's what I'm hoping for. Meanwhile, best of luck in the chat with your predictions. Best of luck. I'm not envious for this one. Not envious for this prediction. So best of luck. As for now, Hatch Gas Pool, Standard Opener out of SHIN. Likewise, Rax Expand out of Cure as well. Standard openers all around. PvP confirmed? Yeah. What do you mean? Mate, if you're not watching PvP, you're not watching StarCraft. You're an animal. You're an animal. As Cure does dip into the natural, dancing with the Lings. So far, no major losses here, just kind of a micro check between the two armies. Ooh, one Ling does go down. Nice pickup. Nice pickup here by Cure. Gets one Zergling. And we forced the low ground expansion. My apologies. I assumed that SHIN was expanding elsewhere. Bold move. This is a much more exposed third location for SHIN. I'm a little bit concerned as to whether we can hold on to it. And we'll see how Cure tries to punish this, if at all. We'll keep an eye on Cure. We'll see if he does commit into an earlier tank push, into like a 7 minutes, like Hellbat tank push, which he was very fond of back in the day. Especially during the Gressvan era of StarCraft, which I think could work quite well here, but we'll keep an eye on him. So now SHIN is just droning. Behind this, we do have our third CC into a starport. So 3CC Banshee here out of Cure. At least it looks to be the case, as we have the tech lab for that add-on swap. There we go. I see someone asking in the chat, and yes, as Ariel is saying, this is a live cast, and no one is privy to the results. We're casting alongside Eno in Korean, Rex, Rotterdam, and many others. These matches were submitted ahead of time. The reason for this is because there is another tournament happening as we speak. There's the Wardy tournament. So because there was a bit of a scheduling issue and because there's an overlap, players wanted to play in both at the same time. So again, that's one of the reasons why the matches were played out ahead of time, to allow for that. It was a nice cleanup here on the Hellions, but basically they had to pick one tournament to you know, play live and one tournament to play from replays or to play ahead of time. And it was either going to be LiuLi Cup or the Wardy CV February tournament. It's going to be one or the other. Cure is setting up, throwing down his extra Raxes. Again, it is going to be 3CC Banshee, as Cloak Banshees are on the way. But again, really nice cleanup here with those Hellions. Did shut them down. as Cure is going to be rotating. He's going to be rotating over in between the bases. So far, Shin, he does maintain himself. More importantly, he protects his mineral line. So far, he's able to saturate that third base. Now getting to his fourth as well. Joining on up, taking his gases. And really, my eyes are on this third base, as he is taking a gas geyser here. He has both gases at the natural, he has gases in the main base. Gas at the third tells us that most likely Cure is building up towards a longer game state. Most likely. And this is where we actually talk about the map itself. Oh, as the Banshees are deflected, getting 3 drone kills. But welcome one and all to Abyssal Reef. Abyssal Reef is known for long, late macro play as well. We've seen a lot of maxed out armies. It is very defendable here on a 5-base setup. This third base, the fourth base, and the fifth base, very easy to defend, very easy to hold on to. And because of that, we often do see late game. Not always, but often. And it does seem like Cure is playing for the late game. As he's going for his armory for 2-2. Oh no! Banshee gets caught out. He gets 1. The other will escape. The other does pull away in time. We have 3 more Raxes being thrown down here. We're getting into we're getting into an 8-rack setup. Again, typically an extra gas geyser tells us that we're going to be throwing down another factory here, but this might be for 3 add-ons. Curious. Are we going to go for the tech labs? Are we going for Marauders? We'll see if Cure does take a step further into a 4th, or if he commits into a 3-base all-in. My eyes are on these 3 Maxes here. Lings, they collapse on the army. They force the pickup. Yeah, no add-ons. No add-ons. He can make 12 Marines at a time. It's a 3-rack. It's a 3-base all-in. 3-base all-in. Making 12 Marines at a time. Mass tank. No Marauders. No Ghosts. No Ghost Academy. No tech. No 4th base. No second gas geyser at the 3rd. No second factory. It's just a 3-base all-in. So straight up 3-base all-in here from Cure. It's all or nothing. There's not a lot of finesse with this. It's kind of like a brute force build with pure Marine tank. It's going to be very fragile here to Ling Bane. It's very fragile to Lurkers as well. And Cure is pushing. Here we go. Now, fun fact, we actually casted... Oh, yes, Balins, they crash in at the same time. Oh, my God. They bust into the mineral line. SCV is going to be going down. What I was going to say is, if you were here yesterday, we actually casted Shin versus Clem during the OSC Season 12 Championship, and we had the same build here on Frostline, and Shin did fall to it. He was killed, he was overwhelmed by the 3-base all-in, but this time there's a lot of creep. Yeah, there's so much creep to work through. And Shin, he can set up a surround at the same time, getting 12 SCV kills. More SCV is going to be falling. And Cure is deep on creep. Balins are finishing up. And Shin once again, he collapses in. And Balins, they shut down most of the fire. Tanks are exposed. Does Shin have enough? He barely does. He barely has enough. He takes down 2 more tanks. Oh, barely, not actually. Tank does hold. Cure, can he pull this off? Reinforcements are on the way. The longer this goes on, the better it is for Shin. Oh, that's Cure. He's getting on top of the Hydras. That's a lot of the Hydras. A lot of Hydras do fall. There's 1 tank left. Tank finally goes down. Bailey's trying to crash in. And Shin, he should have enough to survive. There we go. He gets 1 more tank. There's 1 tank remaining. And he gets it. The final tank does fall. Now only Marine. Shin just has to pull back, wait for reinforcements. And he's going to be okay. He's going to be okay here. Trading with the bio. 5 more Banelings morphing in. 2-2's finishing up with both players. And this time there's no tanks. This time there's no support here for the army. There's no backbone for Cure. There's no background. Oh my God. Does start down to those Banelings. Very nice target firing. Cure, calm down. Oh my God. The splits. He splits well. but it doesn't matter. Yeah, it's not going to be good enough here, as he's just run out of steam. Oof. As SHIN, he holds, he survives. He has 81 workers behind this. He has a booming economy. The creep is still solid. And GG gets called as SHIN, he survives the all-in, and SHIN takes game number 1. Whew. GG. GG, well played. SHIN does take a lead in the series. Now, what I will say, big kind of differentiating factor here comparing Cure to Clem when it comes to the 8 racks against SHIN is that on Frostline, because the bases are so isolated and because the map is so large and so wide open as well, it was actually a little more difficult for SHIN to actually maintain any creep at all. If you remember in that series, Clem, he was on top of every active tumor and he never really allowed SHIN to have any kind of map presence or any kind of map vision on Frostline. Here, there's creep everywhere. You can definitely argue, I would say that because Cure lost the first 2 Hellions early on, he didn't really have much to really threaten those tumors, threaten the creep, and really keep the Zerg player at bay. The creep just gave him just so much freedom here to engage, to collapse on the army, so much vision as well. It was just a much, much stronger defense here from SHIN, and he was able to shut down the first wave, and GG. GG, well played. With that, SHIN takes a lead, and now we're getting into game number 2. Let's go. Let us go. And spawning in the bottom right hand corner of King's Cove, we have the South Korean Terran player, the Blue Terran. Whew. Representing Team Liquid down in the series. We'll see if he can bring it back, and we'll see if he can force the ace match. It is a Cure. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the red Protoss, sorry, the red Zerg player. We have the red Zerg representing Gaiman Gladiators. It is SHIN. Here we go. So we are going to be settling in. Our standard setup here, and welcome on all to King's Cove. King's Cove is another one of these larger maps, a larger map in the map pool. I would say, and I would hope not to see Cure go for a 3-base all in here, just because the rush distance by ground is so long on King's Cove. It is very defendable on 3 bases, but unlike on Abyssal Reef, it is more difficult to get your 4th base up and running and your 5th base up and running on King's Cove. So we see a lot of aggression, a lot of contention in the center of the map towards that 4th and 5th base. So we'll see how Cure will approach this dilemma of expanding and taking, you know, your 5th expansion, if we can go that far. Now, as we're selling in, a big shout to Peanut Butter Jesus. Oh my god, Jesus, papi, ¿qué tal? ¿Cómo estás? Thank you so much, resubscribing for 2 months, 2 months in a row. Thank you so much for the support. Do appreciate it. Hope you enjoy the content, hope you enjoy the StarCraft, and hope you enjoy the casting as well. Thank you so much. Resubscribing. Thank you. Abyssal, then King's Cove. Yeah, big maps, large maps here, back to back, which I would say typically favors the Zerg player. Like, it's smaller maps where Zerg players usually struggle, as Terrans are able to be a lot more assertive, a lot more aggressive, and in the face of the Zerg, and able to break them before they can really stabilize. On these larger maps, players like SHIN have a greater opportunity to settle into a 4-base economy. Last game, he was able to get up to 81 workers and defend against the all-in. But I don't expect the same kind of strategy here from Cure 2 games in a row. I don't expect the same style. I expect to see something different, but we'll see. We keep an eye on Cure. Now, does pull away. SHIN once again the 3rd base. He's crazy. Once again, he's denied the 3rd here at the standard location. He takes the exposed 3rd base. He's almost like baiting Cure into it. He's like, mate, what are you gonna do about my 3rd? You gonna all in me? What are you gonna do? On King's Cove? It's crazy. Este shit. I mean, honestly, I like it though. I like it. I feel like it's exposed, yes, but given the game state, it's relatively safe, and it like boosts the creep across the map. It's crazy, but I like it. Meanwhile, across the map, we do see a lift here from the Rex. Overlord goes down. Kira's going for a third CC into Starport. So far, economic opener out of Cure. Is going to be that economic opener. Ooh, a Viking first. I mean, he has to go for the Viking first as there was no add-on swap as the tech lab was delayed. So most likely Viking into Liberator. Typically. Shin taking his third. And this time no Banshee. Oh, delayed Banshee. Okay. Bold move. Bold move. So typically in this matchup, if you open up Viking, you're telling your opponent essentially that you shouldn't be going Banshee. The reason for this is because a Viking delays your Banshee production because you don't have your add-on, you don't have your setup. If you recall, the reason why we made a Viking was because the racks lifted as well, and usually this is just a very inefficient way to open Banshee. So because of this, Shin might not be ready for those Banshees. As you can see here, Spore behind the mineral line. These are Spores in position for Liberator defense. At least the Spore here at the natural. The Spore in the main base, more against Banshees. So thankfully, Shin is playing safe. But again, the Banshees might be able to catch him off guard, and we could see Cure pop off with them. Here we go. As the Viking is hunting for Overlords. So far, hasn't found any yet. 0 kills. Banshees are building up, getting to Bio, into Stim. Link's being shot down. And Shin is going to be opening and playing Roach. So a very safe play out of Shin in the aftermath. Roach base opener. We'll see if this leads into Ling Bane, as the Spores are repositioning. Did he spot the initial Banshee? Didn't quite spot the Banshee yet, but playing it safe. Viking does hunt down the Overlord. And finally gets one. Let's go. Gets one Overlord. Double Evo Chamber on the way. But this should just be Roach into Ling Bane, Roach Ravager. I would imagine. The other option would be go Roach Ravager into a Hydra Lurker, which is a little bit more niche as a build. We see it sometimes from Dark, especially in the previous map pool, where he would go Roach Hydra into Lurker Viper. But here we go, Cure. He deals with the Overlord, he's moving in. But again, Shin did play it safe. He has the Spore in position. Queens less so. They're in the main. They're not at the natural. Drone's going to be going down. 2 drones so far. Not bad. To attempt an overseer scout across the map. It's denied. The changeling doesn't make it through either. It's a nice denial overall. And as we assumed, there it is, Bane the Nest. So it's going to be Roach Ravager, then into Ling Bane. So one of the more standard setups here. Now this can lead into Ling Bane into Ultra Tech. That is usually where that leads. Just because we should be abandoning range upgrades and going to melee instead. Ooh, Tank Boy's going off. The Roaches, they get punished. Oh my god. And Shin is going to be shut down. And yeah, just a really bold move for Shin to have tried to go up that ramp. Remember, as we mentioned at the start of the game, the 3-base setup on King's Cove is just very defendable. It's very secure, very difficult to break. The more exposed base is the 4th, if you recall. The 4th and the 5th, that's where it's more difficult to defend. But the 3rd, Pappy, we're good. We're fine. We have SimCity, we have tank lines. Cure is secure. As Curie moves out with a double drop. Making his way towards the natural. And she's an Iron Creep. Hive is on the way. And again, we're looking and we're waiting for that potential Ultra Cavern. As yep, there it is. There's melee. So again, it's a little more common here to go Roach Ravager +1 range, then into +1 melee, then into Ling Bane, out of Roach Ravager into Ultra. Is typically how this goes, but we'll see. As Curie moves out with that double drop on the right hand side. The style that I'm referring to, the biggest weakness here is the lack of anti-air. As you can imagine, there's no Hydras, there's no Corruptors, there's no Mutas. The Queen count is quite low, so your main anti-air comes in the form of Vipers, which comes in with your Hive Tech as well. As a result, drop play can be very effective. SHIN is maxing out. He has to get rid of these roaches, they're dead supply. At this point, they're hurting him more than they're helping him. Secure, he's pushing through. There's that Ultra Cavern that we did mention. Ling Bane rolling in, and again, he wants to get rid of these roaches. Oh! Doesn't want to throw them away. So he's working towards those Ultras, but still no Vipers. Just purely Ling Bane Roach Ravager. You're slowly working through that creep. Works through the creep. Goes up towards the left. And SHIN is going to be diving in. Rolls on forward. Nice pre-sweat here by Cure. A pre-sweat as well, despite that tanks are still going to be going down, getting every single tank. And with that Curie shut down, SHIN from here can just keep going. He can shut down the army and push towards the would-be fourth, and there is no fourth base. The fourth is still on the way. And from here, Curie should be contained. SHIN should be able to max out and just deny any kind of fourth base here that Curie tries to take. As he lost everything. Lost all the tanks. We have Windmine production now with Drilling Claws. Here comes that center fourth. SHIN so far just focusing on respreading all that creep. And here come the Vipers. Vipers are on the way. Kindness plating as well. Getting into Ultra Tech. Here comes that Roach Rumbai. As we mentioned before, this is dead supply. And as he bleeds out roaches, he's replacing them with more Ling Bane and more more Vipers as well. SHIN just refining his army. SHIN going for a massive counterattack. The Planetary is not ready. It is not ready here. And likewise, it's going to be targeted down. Cure pushing in, pushing right down mid. We're leading out 13 SCVs across the map. Bailings, they crash into the player. And Marines go down. Marauders left over. Had barely a standing army. Oh my god, the Biotech connect! You're not paying attention, he was focusing elsewhere. And he's being torn apart. He's being torn apart left and right. Medivacs are going down. Ling's popping off as well. 22 SCV kills. And Curie just can't be aggressive like this on King's Cove. It's just not happening. It's not working. Curie trying to establish that fourth base is now being remorphed into that planetary. But he's hurting. He's in trouble. He's in trouble here. He's borderline all in. He's down to 53 SCVs, barely an economy. SHIN, he's already remaxed, and what's important, this time he's maxed out with what? With Vipers and with Ultras. Vipers are topped up, they're full of energy. Ultras are massing up as well. SHIN, he's getting into his ideal army. And Cure, I believe, is there a there's no Ghost Academy. There's no Ghost Academy. There's a couple of Liberators, which will help, true. Liberators will help. But without Ghosts, it's going to be tough to bring down those Ultras. Cure's pushing towards the left. Nice a creep. Working his way through the left-hand side. Is being active. He has at least the 9 creep. He's maxed out himself, true. There is now a Ghost Academy. I believe there's no Ghost yet, as unfortunately Curie's max, so we can't make any. Nice mind connection. Powerbomb of the libs. Super almost does land. Curie can still face up here against Shin. Liberators are going to be targeted down. Nice Miles. Takes down 3 of those Liberators. There's 1 lib left. Spoke too soon. That's a 0. As the final Liberator falls. Okay, 4 Ghosts on the way. Shin is rolling in. Army zoned away. He's going for the base. We spoke of it before, but this low ground expansion is just so exposed. It's going to go down. Takes down both expansions. And this is all that Shin has to do. His win condition, deny the 4th. Deny the 4th base over and over and over again. That's all he needs to do. Oh my god. Snipes are brutal. Shin pulls away. He did overextend. Again, Shin, there's no reasonable shot. He does not have to push into this, into the natural, into the main. Just has to calm things down and deny the 4th. And now backing off, taking up into Ultra Tech. Sorry, into Lurker Tech, I meant to say. He already has the Ultras. Taking into Lunkers. You're moving in. Sets up the zones. The Freedom. Freedom has arrived. Have the Arc, we have the Concave. Ooh, nice snipe here on one of the Vipers. Bang rolling in. Some of the boys are being pulled as well. Rallying through the army. And it looks like Shin, he once again, he has enough. He breaks through the defensive line. The drones, they helped. Copian. Yeah, shuts down the main army. Just not enough support here for the bio. Shinny rotates. He needs to check. He needs to check with the 4th base. Now rotating over. And he does spot the expansion. Planetary is done. Shinny tries to rotate over, but he does overextend. A nice repair. Planetary will hold. But Shinny zones back the main army and blings. They're flooding in. And it looks like the 4th, yeah, it's going to go down. Does go down in the end. SCV repairs this. Not good enough, Faffy. Not good enough, and Shinny's done it. He's broken the back of Cure. Takes down the 4th over and over again, and this time gains damage at the 3rd. A GG gets called, and Shin will take the series 2-0, advancing on to the semifinals. GG. Whew. GG, well played. Shin, he will claim the series, will take the 2-0. Very impressive play here out of Shin. I'll be honest, for the most part, Shin, he was in control of this series, both on Abyssal and on King's Cove as well. I'll be honest, I'm a little bit surprised by the vetoes. I think even Colossal Gob in the chat was a little bit surprised as well by the maps that were being chosen. Typically, these larger maps are, especially if you want to be aggressive, aren't really as favored. I say especially if you want to be aggressive just because of the builds of choice from Cure, if you recall. Game 1, Cure went for an 8 racks 3 base all in. Game 2 here, Cure, he also committed to an early move out on 3 bases before his 4th. So just really aggressive builds here out of Cure. And the maps themselves are working against him. Straight up, like because of the size, because of the defensive features here, yeah, it just made it more difficult to really pull this off, as opposed to on Ley Lines or Whispers of Gold or Ultra Love even as well, on some of these more smaller maps, even El Dorado, depending on how you expand on El Dorado, to be fair. But yeah, GG, well played. With that, Shin, he will claim the series, and this leads us into our final series of the night. Here we go. Leads us into our final series here. Up next, we have Bjorn versus Rogue in another TVZ. Let's go.